I wanted to do an event in memory of my dad, who fought in World War II at the age of 17 and was shot twice.
Lola is on a mission, helping fill the gaps for vets who may need a simple meal or haircut.
They would get clothes, haircuts, food, and just some of them are kind of desperate, especially for the VA. If they don't know how to go through everything, they're destitute.
And she is turning her Veterans Outreach Center into so much more.
When we first started giving haircuts, we had veterans that had not had haircuts in years. They just can't afford that extra out of their budget. And it's big, and now we have grown to the point where we have veterans that are barbers and beauticians that come back to help our veterans. One of the biggest things at the center is our veterans giving back to our veterans.
A lesson learned from her father when she was a little girl, hearing his words, and following that with her actions that take us to the heart of the story.
Lola Vandewally, and this is the Quad City Veterans Outreach Center. We started in November of 2016. I wanted to do an event in memory of my dad, who fought in World War II at the age of 17 and was shot twice. So I went to our local Legion in Bluegrass and I said, what can I do? So after talking to them a couple times, the idea came up to get a location and see what we could do. The need seemed to be a little bit greater than just doing a fish fry or something like that. So we ended up with a building up on 35th Street. And within a year, we outgrew that building. And so then we've been over here now for almost 2 years. We started with 32 veterans 4 years ago this November, and we now have 1,641 members as of last week.
Vets like Vincent Martinez, a World War II and Korean War veteran.
Well, I joined the Navy in 1943.
Sent to the Pacific, then to a submarine base in Australia, where he was injured.
I was in the hospital 11 months. Messed up my hip and my head, and I didn't know where I was for a long time.
He served for 17 years and was slated to go to Vietnam, but his chronic pain forced him to retire from a job he loved. He knows what it's like to need not a hand out, but a hand up.
Like they're welcomed, and it just makes you feel proud to be with them. I don't know, some veterans don't know how to help themselves. So they talk to each other and give advice. I've helped about 10 veterans get disability. Tell them how to go about it, who to see and who not to see. And it makes me feel good to see that they get taken care of.
The former cook gives back in his own way.
I bring a lot of stuff. I was a ship's cook in the Navy, and I can a lot of stuff. Salsa, I bring them some Mexican food that I tried and liked it. I did get in trouble in the Navy because a long time ago. You couldn't change the menu, and I just do it. So twice they tried to bust me for that. But I just kept talking to them, and I didn't know that a lot of mothers and wives wrote in for me 50 letters saying, why wasn't there more people like me?
My name's Don Arns. I'm an advisory board member here.
Don Arns served in the Army for 22 years, but his service to veterans has never stopped.
We've got a lot of veterans, the clinics, the VA clinics, the things like that, but there's not a lot of places you can go where other than to be registered here, the services are free. You come in, you can sit down until the virus and all the restrictions. People could come in here and sit and talk to each other, coffee, have some donuts, get some pastries, whatever, get food if they needed it. You don't see a lot of that in the community for veterans that's not government controlled. And the fact that the center can pretty much do anything because it receives no federal, no state funding. There's no restrictions on what could or couldn't be done here.
He saw the need for help grow and joined the board here to do something about it.
We helped one veteran, young veteran, wife, couple of kids, young kids, that he needed just a little bit and needed a little bit of stuff to help get him into a home of his own. We were able to help get some funds to put him, get him the first month's rent, the things like that, and get him set up. When you do things like that, that always makes you feel good.
And boy, did these chairs have so many stories to tell. Who knew a simple haircut or change of clothes could make someone feel so good? They know.
When we first started giving haircuts, we had veterans that had not had haircuts in years. They just can't afford that extra out of their budget. And it's big. And now we have grown to the point where we have veterans that are barbers and beauticians that come back to help our veterans. One of the biggest things at the center is our veterans giving back to our veterans.
They would get clothes here, haircuts, food, and just some of them are kind of desperate, especially for the VA. If they don't know how to go through everything, they're destitute. If somebody came in raggedy, they'd take them back there and put some nice clothes on them. Yeah, it makes you feel pretty good.
Such small gestures for such great sacrifices for country, for neighbor, and for strangers.
One of our main services is our food giveaway. We offer food, necessities, toiletries, paper goods, everything that they need on a monthly basis. We offer haircuts, we offer a book exchange, a DVD exchange, clothing emergencies. We try to, every month when we sit down as a board, we talk about things that you could not afford if you were struggling. And what can we do? Last weekend we had a big veterinarian weekend where Dr. Fred Mulch came and we gave shots, pulled up and gave all the veterans free shots for their animals, and we gave them food and tags. We try to reach out in the areas that they need that extra help. And many people say to us, well, is this just veterans that are down and out? And I say, no, it's your next door neighbors. It's the grandparents that are raising their grandchildren 40 years later. It is the people who have high medical expenses. There's so many things you just don't realize that the need is out there.
Some of them suffered a lot, get wounded and stuff like that. They can't hardly navigate. So people are starting to realize that what we went through for them to be freed.
And for Lola, knowing her father is proudly watching her work. From the thousands served who would go hungry in this center and outside, where a pandemic forced them to find another way.
The biggest thing.
This is a promise she is keeping, a pact made as a little girl without words after hearing of the acts of kindness on a mountaintop a world away.
He fought in the Guam Islands when I was a little girl. He would tell me about how he sat on the mountainside and on the Guam Islands, and he did hand-to-hand combat and was shot twice. And he would tell me about the villagers that came up, and made me think of this when I started the center. The villagers would come up to the mountainside and carry baskets of fruit and food to our soldiers that were stationed on the mountainside, and he remembered that. And I thought I could do that same here to our veterans that needed it here. So it helped me think about things that I needed to do.
So she and a community of volunteers keep coming back here to serve.
We serve them because they served us. And this is a thank you. This isn't just for people who are down and out or are struggling. This is a thank you to every veteran that served, and they're always welcome here.
You can find a link to the center in the show notes and find out more on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just search Gary Metivier. Please subscribe, comment, and share with a friend to help us grow. This is the Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier podcast.